Let's talk about lore. I kind of rarely get around to talking about lore, but it's still one of the elements of the Warcraft universe that interests me the most. This video is probably going to be a bit spoilerific though, so you should watch the end cinematic for patch 6.2 first. The official one is what it is, but I think the definitive version is definitely by Nixium, so go check that out. Now, onto the lore. So, our main man, Gul'dan, gets chucked into a portal, and then Archimonde seemingly dies, wink wink, nudge nudge. For some bloody reason, the Draenei seem to have a victory dance with their new MC, Grommash Hellscream, which makes no sense, and Yril delivers some of her usually sort of terribly written and delivered cringeworthy dialogue, because it's Yril!
Shut up, Wesley!
One Wesley Crusher was enough. How this expansion would have benefited from another patch worth of story to actually flesh these characters out and explain some of their motivations by the end of 6.2, because this shit does not make sense. Anyway, the more meaningful part of the cinematic is Khadgar talking about how stuff isn't over yet in regards to Gul'dan and the Legion, which is pretty much something that we all could have guessed anyway. Now this leads us into a multitude of very, very big problems. Apparently the Archimonde that we fought is the same Archimonde that we killed in Hyjal, somehow, yet apparently Manaroth of the alternate universe, Warlords of Draenor, is another Manaroth from the Manaroth in our universe, and we even see alternate universe versions of the likes of Socrathar, who, like Archimonde, is a Manary demon. So, the rules surrounding the Burning Crusade just do not make any sense. We have things which suggest there are infinite legions across infinite realities, and we also have things to suggest that it's one Burning Legion that spans all realities. If that is the case, then why did they focus on our personal reality so much? Is it the, principal reality of the Warcraft universe? It's weird. Surely I would have thought, though, that being an alternate reality is really just a matter of perspective. Surely our reality is an alternate reality for the inhabitants of Draenor. Who the hell knows? What I think Blizzard is going to do is not answer any of these questions whatsoever. They're going to dumb it down a lot. I think we're going to be facing one Burning Legion which spans all realities. To Blizzard, Draenor, I think, may as well just be another continent with zero time travel, zero, duplicate characters, or anything like that really being regarded for. They clearly don't think too much about this alternate universe stuff anyway themselves, so perhaps they don't want us thinking about it too much either. For the sake of this video, I'm going to concede to what I think they want, with the caveat being that I'm really annoyed about how they've broken the lore and logic of the Warcraft universe so badly during this expansion, and have kind of ruined some of the stuff of Warcraft 3. The Night Elves kind of, sacrificed their immortality and all that for Archimonde, and to stop all that stuff from happening, so maybe they feel a little bit shortchanged now. Anyway, let's talk about the future. So is the next expansion going to directly follow on from the events of Warlords of Draenor? I do not think so, and in fact I hope that it doesn't. And that's more for the sake of just variety than anything. Azeroth has one big threat that has been looming for a while, N'Zoth and Ashara. We also have Neptulon, who is a presumably friendly elemental lord who I assume is imprisoned after being wrecked by a large squid. Seriously, you're the Lord of Water, and you allow yourself to get squidded like that. What a pushover. Still, there is the possibility for a great expansion here. We have not seen Kul Tiras, we haven't seen the Goblin Home of Undermine or anything like that in World of Warcraft, which means that Blizzard actually have a bit more freedom in terms of where they place them. This expansion could essentially have Ashara as the new Gul'dan, in terms of being the legendary quest villain. It could then go many different ways, and I would prefer it being a 3 raid tier long expansion, but lore-wise, and that's really the focus of this video, I think we would end up killing N'Zoth's living form, and then causing Ashara to flip back to her Burning Legion affiliation. She would then find the Skull of Gul'dan in the Tomb of Sargeras, and use that to fully summon in the Legion, and the Skull of the Tomb of Sargeras would be the final raid tier of the expansion. We would kill Ashara fully, and then delay the portal from being fully made. But Khadgar would inform us that the sort of link between worlds has been created, and the Legion will probably be here soon. So essentially, we deal with the N'Zoth problem, which is the immediate threat, but in a sort of final act of being Ashara, she manages to create some sort of link between worlds, and maybe a big bad thing will happen because of that. Now, the next expansion after that would be the first major invasion of Azeroth by the Burning Legion during the span of World of Warcraft. we would see the resurgence of Rathian. After all, he is the one who predicted that they would be back so soon. And they might even dust off the Draenor crowd, and maybe, we could call in Yril and the Draenei for some help, give us a little bit of a hand. The major problem with this expansion idea, though, is working a new continent into it. One of the issues with Cataclysm was, I think, its disjointed nature, and that's not really something that I would like to have happen again. One way that they could get around this is have it so that the Legion's portal ends up appearing somewhere else in Azeroth. Perhaps during the Tomb of Ashara raid, we are too late to prevent her from linking our world to the Legion, but we are quick enough to stop the actual portal. And then on the Legion side, they could power up the portal with Fel energy, causing the portal on our side of things to appear in some previously unknown source of power on Azeroth. Maybe there's some crazy-ass duality thing of Karazhan that lies on a particular ley line that makes something happen. I don't know. We do know that there are other continents out there, I believe according to Metzen, and yeah, it's definitely possible that there's something akin to the World of Eternity or something powerful floating around out there that a portal could latch to and just use to appear. Of course, there might already be some sort of source of power like that that's beyond my own lore knowledge, that's on another continent, but basically if they were to introduce another continent in a Burning Legion invasion expansion, then that would probably be a pretty cool way to do it. And if you think about it, the sort of later on zones of that expansion's continent would be where the Legion have landed and set up their stuff. Then in the middle zones and sort of the rest of it, you would have whatever local or, things are native to that continent, and then the other side there could be where we land. And I think that could be pretty cool and almost give you a Wrath of the Lich King sort of feel in that you progress yourself to the sort of big bad evil zone. Something which didn't happen in Warlords of Draenor because instead of Tanan Jungle being the final zone like it was planned to be, they instead went with Nagrand, which really didn't have a ginormous Burning Legion or Iron Horde sort of presence to it. So this expansion would end up with us driving the Legion back, but probably with some major losses on our side, and probably nothing too crazy on theirs. Maybe we would lose Khadgar or some of the Draenor characters. As in, they would die, something like that. Also, Gul'dan would probably appear in this expansion. I don't know if he would be a principal villain or anything like that, but certainly I think it would be pretty cool if we would see him as a main villain again. I would not like it if we were to fully kill a sort of fully powered up Kil'jaeden, Archimonde, or Sargeras, though I suppose we're doing it in Warlords of Draenor anyway, so what the hell. Now, after the Legion Invasion expansion, I think they could go many different ways. I love the idea of an expansion focusing on the resurgence of the undead. Bolvar has probably thawed out by this stage, and Sylvanas is probably up to some funny business with her Valkyr, so there's definitely good plot there, but setting is a pretty big issue. I would flip every single table from here to Irvine if they actually touched Northrend and revamped it, and overall I don't really like the idea of going right to another Burning Legion expansion after the one where we fend off the invasion, just again for the sake of having a bit more variety in the game. Perhaps we could get another Azeroth-based expansion with another threat like the undead, and then after that muster up the ability to take the battle to the Legion. Rather than the undead, we could even have an expansion surrounding the return of the Titans. That could actually be the expansion which would lead into an invasion against the Burning Legion. That does depend, though, on whether any of the Pantheon are actually left or existing, because from what we know, some of the Titans' constructs, like Algalon and Raden and things like that, they're still knocking about, but who knows if the Pantheon's alive? We haven't actually heard from any of them specifically. Anyway, if there was going to be an expansion about us invading some sort of Legion homeworld, what I think would be really cool is us jumping into the Exodar and then flying off to Argus. And I think that would actually be one of the most narratively interesting and also visually impressive expansions that we could possibly get. But anyway, they're just some of my lore thoughts about the future. So essentially, getting some sort of an Azoth Ashara thing, which is what everyone seems to expect. The main sort of Emerald Dream problems are already dealt with in terms of Xavius being defeated, and the Emerald Dream itself is pretty much there due to N'Zoth anyway, so perhaps the Emerald Dream could tie into the N'Zoth sort of Seas expansion that involves Ashara. But after that, I think it would make a lot of sense if Ashara was to do something that would spur on a fully powered up Burning Legion invasion against our planet. After that, I'd like to just chill out in Azeroth for a bit, not fight the Legion, and perhaps after that expansion we could, head off to Argus and sort of try to kill the Legion. Again, it all depends on how long World of Warcraft will last for. They did say at one point that they, like 10 years, or there's going to be another 10 years of WoW. If they keep on making silly decisions like in Warlords of Draenor, maybe there won't be, but let's just go on the assumption that there will be 10 more years of World of Warcraft, which probably means at least, I'd say 4 to 7 new expansions, should they actually decide to ramp up the rate at which we get expansions. Of course, turning these lore ideas, though, into a good game is a completely different story, and it could be that other, more gameplay-focused expansion ideas would be better for the game overall, but as I said, this video is just me kind of sounding off about some random lore things that were floating around in my head. Let me know what you'd like for the next expansion down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.